I think I speak for most people when I say that traveling to outer space, looking at the entire world from a heavenly perspective, and most exciting of all, floating around weightlessly while doing it is a dream we've all had at least once in our lifetime. No? Just me?
I was once a child with a dream, looking up to the stars. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship with lots of other wonderful adults looking down to our beautiful, beautiful Earth.
Well, this is what happened to a lucky mother-daughter couple.
Welcome to space.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime adventure few of us will ever experience.
To just have the experience to actually go to space and look at our amazing planet from that high and to just breathe that in and to just be in that energy is just super amazing.
It brings out a lot of emotion in me because it's something that I've wanted for so long and it's happening.
Virgin Atlantic recently launched its private astronaut commercial spaceflight service to paying customers and skyrocketed to the edge of space. Space tourism is a relatively new concept, as humans desire to see more and experience things that we can only dream of a generation ago. Let's dive in, or take off rather, and see what it takes to become a space tourist, how much it costs, and the big question that we all have in the back of our minds, to investigate if it's even safe to be doing this. Space tourism is becoming a trendy activity with the likes of Virgin Galactic, SpaceX, and Blue Origin all competing to take paying passengers into the final frontier. While their main goal is the bottom line, of course, they also endeavor to make space travel more accessible to all who might have aspirations or those just eager for the experience of a lifetime, making it as common as jumping on a jumbo jet and flying around the world, and maybe even competing with it at some point in the future. Sounds great, but how much will it cost? Well, back in 2001, Dennis Tito became the first commercial passenger to travel to outer space and spend a week at the International Space Station. The American entrepreneur shelled out a mind-numbing $20 million to Space Adventures, a private space tourism company, for this astronomically expensive item on his bucket list. Yeah, that's a lot of money, but let's make some distinctions. There are two kinds of space flights, orbital and suborbital. And now that the International Space Station has begun accepting visitors, getting there will require a spacecraft to leave the Earth's atmosphere completely and travel at a particular speed. Suborbital spaceflight is when a spacecraft goes into space but does not reach the altitude where it can orbit Earth. It goes to the end of our atmosphere, or specifically 100 kilometers in the air, and this is the area above the planet where people can experience weightlessness.
Woo! Oh, this is unbelievable. This is too unbelievable.
On the more pricey side of space tourism are orbital experiences, such as going to the International Space Station. At the forefront of this market is SpaceX.
The SpaceX experience would see up to 7 passengers training for a few weeks for a launch. You launch at a Cape Canaveral, Florida, sitting on top of a 230-foot tall Falcon 9 rocket booster. The launch process and getting to either the International Space Station or to orbit would take a few hours at least, in some cases up to like 20 hours to reach where your destination is. And then you'd return back through the atmosphere. The capsule would deploy its parachutes, and then it actually splash down in either the Gulf of Mexico or in the Atlantic Ocean.
Orbital flight will be expected to complete at least one orbit of Earth. The spacecraft would need to travel at a speed that allows such a flight to occur, otherwise the Earth's gravity would pull the ship back down very quickly. To stay in orbit, you would have to travel at 17,400 miles per hour. The International Space Station orbits the Earth at 17,500 miles per hour, so instead of falling back to Earth, it continuously falls around the Earth, which is the goal of orbital flight. It circles the planet once every 90 minutes. SpaceX, run by Elon Musk, is the only commercial space tourism company that has achieved this so far out of the three mentioned. This is why suborbital travel is a lot more affordable. The costs and level of engineering required for the two types of spaceflight differ significantly, and there is a huge difference in the speed necessary for orbital travel, which translates to the design of the rocket. Suborbital rockets can be smaller and in turn have lower operating costs and most importantly, are reusable. Sir Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic and Amazon CEO's Blue Origin only operate at the edge of space, making them suborbital journeys. This eliminates the need for specialized heat shields and plates for re-entering the Earth's atmosphere and is a lot less expensive to operate. Right now you might be saying, well, this won't last long because who has that kind of money to sustain this new industry? But the answer might surprise you. A 2020 survey revealed that 39% of individuals with a net worth of more than $5 million are interested in paying $250,000 for a Virgin Galactic flight. For perspective, as many as 2.5 million people or more could be interested enough in the opportunity. However, there's a range of $250,000 to $450,000. But because a spaceship can only operate 4 to 5 times a month, that means it is the perfect supply and demand model. We fly in airplanes all the time. Some even fly high enough that we can see the curvature of the Earth and the edge of darkness of space, all for less than 1% of the cost of a spaceflight. Besides the weightlessness, what is the real difference between these two experiences? Well, I'm glad you asked. You would undergo an extensive 3-day pre-flight training course. The spacecraft is connected to a dual fuselage mothership that carries it to an altitude of approximately 10 miles above the Earth in the stratosphere. The spacecraft detaches from the carrier, engages its engines, and starts a near vertical climb at about 3 times the speed of sound until it reaches an altitude of about 55 miles above the Earth's surface, into the thermosphere. At this point, the engines are shut off.
Welcome to witnesses. You're clear to unstrap.
And you'll be weightless for about 4 minutes. The spacecraft performs a backflip, providing unparalleled panoramic views of Earth.
All right, everybody, look out the window. Don't miss apogee.
Oh my God.
Be quiet.
Woo! Oh my God.
And please return to your seats and strap in. Approaching re-entry.
Repositioning into re-entry mode before it glides all the way back to the spaceport for a runway landing. The entire journey lasts about 90 minutes. That's about $2,700 per minute for this experience. For those of us who might never be lucky enough to experience this, here's what the inside of the shuttle looks like and a few specs.
To fully embrace the design opportunity within the cabin, our spaceship crew seat really is an iconic feature, and we've tailored our seats for each individual astronaut. We've used the highest grade aluminium and carbon fiber manufacturing techniques, and we've cantilevered the structure from the cabin sidewalls. Your view is the focus of your time in zero-G, and to guide you towards experiencing this incredible moment, we've got 17 windows, each bordered by a soft circular halo which helps focus and frame your view. We've designed the halo edges to allow you to move around the cabin and to perfectly position yourself to view Earth below. In zero-G, the cabin effectively becomes a 360-degree climbing frame. We know our customers want to perfectly record every aspect of their experience, and we've ensured that we've got this covered. There's no need to take your own camera. As we all know, your time is going to be spent enjoying weightlessness and those amazing views back to Earth. We've built in 16 cameras on board to record every one of those moves that you make on your trip, illuminated by the natural, beautiful brightness of the Earth.
But can we really call this space travel though? A particularly popular astrophysicist weighs in.
They went about the thickness of 2 dimes above Earth's surface.
Does that qualify?
So as an astrophysicist, I can't call that space travel. But it's above the Kármán line, yes. So above the American definition of the Kármán line, which is a little lower than the European definition. We're at like 80 kilometers. Europe is like 100 kilometers. So it's a cheaper ride a little bit.
Everyone dreams. Some dreams come true, most of them don't. And unfortunately, for the truly ambitious, they die pursuing theirs. So what did this mean for future regulations? We already know of the tragedy the Titan submersible was, and it's understood that had more regulations been put in place by the owners and operators, those 5 people would still be alive today. It should come as no surprise to you, but there are no safety and operational regulations to date. But that doesn't mean that they aren't on the way. In such a burgeoning industry, it will take time to implement such measures, but agency leaders are currently forming a committee to govern the safety of space tourists and stipulate the way that spacecraft should be operated. The committee's name? The Human Spaceflight Occupant Safety Rulemaking Committee. Under current federal law, the FAA cannot regulate the safety of individuals on board a spacecraft. Congress first imposed this regulatory learning period in 2004 and subsequently extended it to ensure the industry had ample time to grow and innovate. Presently, FAA regulations require crew and spacecraft participants to be made aware of the hazards of space travel and fly under a written, informed consent framework. Now, knowing all of this, would you pay the steep price tag for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? What if you want a free trip like these 2 passengers? Would you take that risk?